Om Sai Ram, Sai Leela episode 31. We continue with the experiences of Mr. Tadkar's family. Disappearance of Mudeshwar Astama. Mudeshwar Pradhan was a close devotee of Sai Baba. He was a judge in Bombay High Court. He was suffering from acute asthma. He used to be a partner of my grandfather whenever they played the bridge, a game of cards. For the cure of asthma, my grandfather advised him to visit Shirdi and he obliged. On his very first visit to Shirdi, when he met Sai Baba, he was offered to inhale the chillum, which Baba gave him personally. Mudeshwar was rather worried, but he inhaled the chillum and it was a miracle. From that moment onwards, he never got any attack of asthma. What a strange way of curing person of his ailments. Mudeshwar thanked my grandfather and from then on became an ardent devotee of Sai Baba. It was Vijayadashami day of the year 1918 and late afternoon, suddenly Mudeshwar got an attack of asthma. The attack was so severe and he had sent his servant to Bandra and requested my grandfather to come to Santa Cruz to his residence. Mudeshwar's servant told my grandfather that his master had suddenly taken ill and requested him to rush for his help. Then my grandfather along with my father left their house. Of course, they carried along with them Udi, which Baba had personally given it to them on their last visit to Shirdi. They saw Mudeshwar in utter distress. My grandfather consoled him. He put Baba's Udi in a glass of water and requested Mudeshwar to drink the same. Mudeshwar obeyed my grandfather's words as he was a very close friend. No sooner he had drank the water than the intensity of the attack went on reducing and in a short while he felt relieved. Mudeshwar asked grandfather, stating that Baba had said that his asthma has gone forever, in which case how the revival of the attack. My grandfather advised him not to worry and in the event it happens again, he should consume Baba's Udi as medicine. However, Mudeshwar was not required to do so anymore. The consumption of Udi had certainly reduced the asthma attack. There was an altogether different kind of message behind this incident, which they all realized later on. On that day, at about 2 p.m., Sai Baba had taken Samadhi in Shirdi and while doing so, he had sent in his typical way wireless message to all the ardent devotees. Of course, my grandfather and father had also received this wireless message, which I will narrate to you all in later chapters. Eating the skin of the watermelon. During Baba's lifetime, some people who visited Shirdi could not get his blessings. Maybe they lacked faith in him, or maybe they did not have patience. These people were of elite class and whenever they had visited him, looking at his poor lifestyle, they used to think, how can a fakir like him get rid of my problems? Of course, Baba's ways of handling issues were also very funny and difficult to understand in the first meeting. It was summertime. One woman vendor with a basket full of watermelon came near Dwarakamai. Baba purchased all the watermelons. He then cut one and made slices and started distributing them to all the devotees present there. They all were enjoying the watermelon. Baba had not given a slice to my father, who was also present there. At that point of time, one elite gentleman, well dressed, accompanied with his 2 servants, entered Dwarkamai. He was suffering from a severe diabetes and on advice of someone he was visiting Shirdi. Baba did a funny thing. He took one slice and separated the skin and the pulp and offered the pulp to my father and the skin to that gentleman. The elite gentleman was rather annoyed and replied that he is not an animal like cow or a goat to eat the skin. Baba then offered the same to my father and said, "Hey Bahu, you only eat this now." When my father had a bite at it, to his surprise, it was so soft like a banana and sweeter than the pulp which he had already consumed earlier. My father used to say that such sweet watermelon he had never tasted in his lifetime. The allied gentleman felt insulted and went away from there. He had probably missed his permanent cure on diabetes. My father expired in the age of 72 and he had no traces of diabetes till then. Dear devotees, the real medicine was not the substance but was there in those secret hands of Baba, which used to give that mirage touch to the substance, which then probably was getting converted to nectar. Those devotees who had realized this factor were immensely benefited. Of course, Baba's most important teaching were Shraddha means faith and Saburi means patience. Those who practice these two Mahamantras will always be successful in life. Killing of insects. During lifetime, devotees visited Shirdi used to voluntarily take part in executing some duties such as cleaning of the Dwarka Mai, sweeping the roads from Dwarka Mai to Lendibag, which Baba used to walk upon daily. These duties were not entrusted upon, but devotees who perform them as stuff they are offering their worship to Baba through such social deeds. The residents, devotees of Shirdi, were regularly performing such duties. My father, whenever in Shirdi, would undertake the job of cleaning the Petromax lanterns and lighting them up in the evening and hung them in the assigned places all over the Dwarka Mai. He would use this opportunity to seek clarification from Baba on any query he would tremble upon. Once he declared that Baba that he would no more light up the Petromax lanterns because the act of him is making him to be a sinner. No sooner the lanterns were lit and darkness approached, lot of insects gathered around the lamp, and after hovering around for some time, they fell beneath the lamp and died. In the event that he does not light the lamps, they would not come there, probably would not die. My father basically wanted to know why God had created such a phenomena. Baba's explanation on that matter. Baba laughed at the query and said, "Hey Bao, you are mad. Do you think that these insects will not die if you do not light the lanterns? They would go to the place where there are lamps and light and would die there. These all are Lord's creation. He had planned their death at the time of the birth itself. In case the lamp or the light is not there, then other creatures would finish them. These type of deeds do not add to the sin of a human being. Your mainly intention of lighting the lamp is to remove the darkness from Dwarka Mai, so that the devotees can perform their worship with ease. You are therefore not indulging in an act of sin. That very fact that dying of insects hurts you in itself is an indication that you are a kind-hearted. The Lord knows his duties very well, and we need not have to interfere with this work. He has planned our end side by side while putting life into us. Therefore, need not worry. Continue to perform the work which gives you pleasure. Lord will be kind to you. Allah bhala karega. So, Baba's teaching were very simple and of a convincing type. Through this incident, he administered a noble advice to my father and gave him aware of norms created by God. Fight with the fire. Dear Sai devotees, you must be aware that Baba had served the life of a potter's daughter who had incidentally fallen into the baking oven. In doing so, his hands had received severe burn injuries. A leper by name of Baoji Shinde used to apply the ghee to the wounds and bandage the same with the pieces of a cloth. Baba also used to use his hand as a ladle for stirring hot dal or mutton curry, and these items were given as prasad to his devotees. Of course, I am sure that the touch of the sacred hand must be inducing tremendous amount of medical properties in those substances. When one ate them as prasad, it must be driving away all acute diseases instantly. However, I am going to narrate you all unprecedented incident over here. One fine morning, my grandfather had a dream. In his dream, he saw his Khatu mills was in flames, and as a result, his sleep was disturbed. At the dining table, when he briefed the subject to my father, they decided to inform the proprietor of the mills, Mr. Dharmasri Kathau, as a secretary of the group of mills. He advised the proprietor to cover the mills with suitable insurance against fire. In those days, the insurance cover was not common, as money spent was reducing the profit and the financial managers were against it. Finally, my grandfather succeeded in convincing Mr. Dharmeshri, and they arranged for the revaluation of the entire textile mill and renewed the insurance cover for enhanced value of the mill. 5 to 6 months later, one morning they received a SOS call from the mill that there was a fire in the mill, and they were summoned immediately. They rushed to the mill fortnightly. On reaching there, they saw the weaving department was under fire. They both prayed to Baba and requested for his help to contain the fire and save the mill from being destroyed completely. As they climbed to the second floor where the weaving department was situated, to their utter surprise, they saw one fakir with his hand tied with a piece of cloth and was in the midst of the fire and waving both his hands trying to contain the fire. My grandfather asked my father, "Is he not our Baba trying to exhaust the fire?" They got confirmation that Baba had responded to their prayers. It took around 1 more hour and the fire was under control. They all gave the sign of relief, as the damage was only limited to the weaving department and there was no necessity of shutting down the mill. Also, due to the insurance cover, the financial losses were compromised. No sooner the normalcy of operation were reached, they both visited Shirdi to convey their thanks to Baba. When they were near the steps of Dwarka Mai, Baba also coaxed my grandfather, saying, "Hey old man, who is operating your mill?" My grandfather prostrated at the feet and told him to continue his unfailful blessing to all of them. He profusely thanked him for fighting the fire. He there and then confirmed to Baba that he is the real secretary. On hearing this, Baba got up from his seat. He lifted Baba Sahib Tadkar from the ground and said, "Hey old man, please get up and remember that I stand committed to pull out my devotees from the gravest of the dangers. I will fulfill all the commitments given by me from this Dwarka Mai to my devotees. No sooner my devotee sends me a distress signal to me, I am there at his service, whichever part of the world he may be. I am sure you all agree with me that it was an unpredicted incident. Oh Lord Sai, I sincerely bow before you and your Leelas." Here we come to the end of Sai Leela episode 31. Om Sai Ram.